What's good with the YouTube? You already know this is Big Flacco with a convict's perspective, man. And I got an old friend, man, I haven't seen for a while. David Rocha, Pastor Rocha, man, also known as Sir Dyno, you know.
Formerly
known as Sir Dyno, man. A changed man. He's doing the most good in the community, man. Busy man. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. I just I kind of randomly messaged you this morning because I'm just like, man, it's been a long time since I talked to this brother. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to reach out, make sure you're doing good, and too much time has passed.
Life shows up sometimes, man, and you never know what to expect, and sometimes you got to take the time to reach out to those that you meet.
Yeah.
Everything's been up and down, man. I'm doing the best I can day by day. But for the most part, I mean, I'm alive, I'm blessed, I'm healthy. I can't complain.
Yeah. Same here. Like I said, the days turn into weeks turn into months. I don't even remember the last time we talked. I mean, we've messaged here and there a couple times, but as far as face to face, or at least on a Zoom,
face to face, I think the last time was when we did the solitary confinement one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, it's been a while, man.
That was the last one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a year later. A year since the Cholo Trucker fight.
Yeah.
Everybody's still pushing, doing their thing, man. And I got some things tomorrow supposed to come out in a documentary. Like I told you.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to push. I want to push a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of everything. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have no one dimension with this channel. You know what I'm saying? It's part entertainment, part information, part trying to help people.
Yeah.
So because you can't, I figure I don't want my channel to go stale. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good timing to have you on here. I was thinking about you. I was like, man, oh, there he is right there.
All right.
What's up with it, man?
Oh, man, I just finished a recording session, bro. I promise you, I didn't know exactly what time we was.
I know. I was telling Pastor Rocha, formerly known as Sir Dyno. You know what I'm saying?
Sir Dyno, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm a fan of the Darkroom Familia, boy. Listen, that's what made me want to make my movie. When I watched y'all movie, I was like, man, these motherfuckers, god damn, they got a real fucking movie. Listen,
I remember reading, I think it was a Murder Dog. I think it was at a Murder Dog interview where you had mentioned the movies that we had did.
Man, that's what made me and Mac Moore want to get that shit done. I was like, damn, they really got real movies done. Fuck that shit. We got to do it.
Yeah. Like I was telling Pastor Rocha here, right?
Uh-huh.
You guys were both in the Bay Area Valley, right? Northern California. You guys were both pioneers in different ways. Like you just said, Darkroom making the movies, the Chicano rap culture. You became one of the first independent rap label owners. You know what I mean? And so I think it's real important that to get you guys on here and to discuss this black and brown thing about the unity that needs to be kind of pushed a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? To try to bridge the gap, man. And I'm gonna start off with Pastor Rocha. What's your input on this?
I mean, for me, just I think it's a little bit different for those of us that grew up, up in Northern California. It was a lot different. Like when the Bay Area blew up, maybe I don't know. For me, we all blew up. It wasn't like, oh, the blacks in the Bay blew up. It was like the Bay blew up, everybody, and so whether it was Too Short or all the way from JT, you know what I mean? It was just an exciting time, an exciting moment that for us, when we saw, like, I remember when I saw Players Club on MTV, when I saw that video on MTV, that was like, man, we made it. That's how I felt.
Yes.
So I think that unity has always been. I mean, there's always going to be issues and problems, but I don't even think it was racial. It was more of maybe cities, or whatnot. But I just think that it was we never saw. I never saw it as something separate, man. I would get excited when a lot of the Bay Area rappers, and to be honest with you, it's exciting to know like that JT knew what we were doing as Darkroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was going both ways. We were cheering each other on.
Yes. I agree 100%. I agree 100%, man. I never looked at it as separate. I promise you, it was too close to be separate, especially in Northern California. Now, maybe LA had a separation that, you know, we probably didn't know nothing about. But as
Yeah.
far as Northern California, it felt like we were all working together. And when he told me Darkroom Familia, I'm like, man, them the first guys before us. It was them. They was the guys that made people believe in the Bay Area movie game, coming from the brown side, and it was just as good as anything else. We loved it because it was fucking hood, it was original, and it was just something that made me and Mac Mall, as we thought about our movie and we discussed y'all movie. I was like, bro, they got it done. We could get it done. Master P got it done. Of course, Master P had a bigger budget, but we analyzed. Master P got big budget. Darkroom Familia don't look like they got a big budget, but they delivered the raw essence of what the fuck was really going on. And I think that's what gave us motivation and confidence watching y'all shit. True story.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And you know, you guys were both pioneers in bridging the gap in other areas too, man. You know, you were one of the first artists from the Bay Area that started to actually work with people from LA. You know, Pastor Roach right here was the first one to actually go on Tony A's show back a couple years ago. Those were big. Those were very instrumental things that nobody ever would have thought would have happened. And now you got Swifty Blue working with Gotos, who's a Sudanese rapper from LA. So I mean, you know, the whole purpose of this is, you know, I'm not going to get involved in the politics that are going down south. You know what I'm saying? But I want people down south to witness, you know what I'm saying, the interactions of black and brown up north, and that it's about working together towards common goals. And look at the success you men had, you know what I'm saying, today in your life, man. I think that needs to be really put on the table, because you got a lot of people that are coming out of left field, and some people have harbor animosities from the past and whatnot, man. Sometimes we got to bridge that gap. And if they could witness the things that you guys were able to do, maybe someone's gonna sit there and say, man, instead of sitting there arguing about something, let's put a track together. Let's get something going. Let's get everybody from down south. Let's put music and let's push something, man. Something positive, man, because the talks that you're seeing, there's nothing positive that's producing from it. It's just, you know, tick for tack, you know, this, that. Put all that to the side. Let's do something positive. You know what I mean? That's my whole thing and what I'm seeing.
After having that discussion with you, man, I had so many of my Latin brothers hit me that I never knew who they were, but they watched the interview and they contacted me on my Instagram and was like, JT, man, we've been following you for years, bro. Man, it feels so good to see you as a voice that's trying to keep us together when some other people are just either not paying attention, or they have no comment, or they're not participating. But JT, all these years later, you still on the front line like, man, what? I got to let my voice be known, man. The black and brown shit, we ain't never gonna separate, bro. Whoever trying to stop it is the FBI and the fucking police. Because if black and brown work together, we will have a better outcome for everyone. Because even though we could take pride in being black and having our black music, but having music mixed with the brown, man, come on, man. We was able to have something special that even people with other parts of the country don't have, because they don't interact with other races, or they're not focused on it, or it's not a priority, or it's not even a thought. But in California, Northern California specifically, we have been blessed to work with all the cultures. If you was growing up in Northern California, you got to see the white, the Latin, the Filipino, the Samoan, like the Islanders, like just the whole culture that we never had, like we just never had no barrier that was strong enough to make us not have an interaction. The music shut down all the barriers and made us be able to enjoy each other products in a fair way, in a way of where it's not forced. Like I said, the Darkroom Familia shit made me believe that I can get something done, because I'm like, damn, they got something done, and they didn't care nothing about no big budget. They got it done independently, and that's what I stand on as a man. Fuck it, I gotta try independently. So to see somebody do it, there was nobody in the black community that had a film of a hood movie Nobody had one. Zero. It was only either big budget or semi budget. But I didn't even have a script. I just made that shit up. Me and Mar made that shit up, bro. We wrote a couple notes, and then we rented the camera and the lights and was like, fuck it, and just start filming anything. And as we looked at the footage, it made it easier to edit. And then, just like I'm saying, watching y'all shit, it made sense from the beginning of y'all movie to the end. It always made sense. It was like, damn, I could watch this again. Because this shit is fucking raw. So I want the public to know how much, I'm happy and excited to be on here. Like I'm talking to Master P or I'm talking to Herm Lou. When I see you right now, the Darkroom Familia, I'm talking to one of the pioneers, the founders, and I just want the people to see how happy I am and how much I want to salute you and your team for what y'all did to help us get on our feet. Because most people don't know that story. They only hear it tonight for the first time. This never been said before in any place, anywhere, because nobody never told me and brung y'all name up for me to be able to speak on my love and my appreciation of what y'all did for us. That's why you see the smile on my face. That's
freezing up a little bit.
Yeah, it's breaking up.
Dyno.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel to hear that though?
Well, I mean, first of all, I remember that game Recognized game was on steady rotation in my car.
Yep, you too. Yep.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
No, I want to make sure he can hear me. Let's see what happens. He's gonna pop back in.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, man, to hear that, because when I think the Bay Area like music, right? I think of JT, I think of E40, Too Short, all different areas. You know what I mean? And you can even throw in Spice 1-2 in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
there was a few. What's his name of the Players Club? I can't think of his name.
Forte.
Yeah, Rapping Forte, man. You can't leave him out.
But the thing that was great was about that JT kind of followed in Master P's lead.
Yeah,
was able to do that, man. And I don't know if anybody down south, black or brown, was able to do that at that time. You know what I mean? I think Gold Toes was the first Hispanic to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you see how Gold Toes is moving right now, he's signing people from down south. He's making the right moves, man. And I don't think that he knows he's bridging the gap with a lot of these relationships. He went on Tony A show as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think this music thing, man, with people that have voices from the past could be key. You know what I mean? To have better interactions. Like, hey, man, we gotta stop the hate, stop the violence. You know what I mean? We can work together and accomplish so much more.
Whether people realize it or not, I believe that me going on the Tony A show was a small part in bridging the gap.
Yeah, I believe
it. Because that was crazy. He had death threats, and he still did it. I just got off the phone with him a little while ago. We became friends. Today was my reaching out day, bro. I reached out to you. I reached out to Tony A. Paul. I messaged Paul. And I'm just like, man, you know what? I'm going to get a hold of some of these guys and just say hello. But anyways, to me, it's bridging the gap, man, because it's never good when any group, whether it's neighborhoods or cities or different races, that's never good. To go at, just it doesn't make any sense, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. People are people. I grew up in Tracy, as you know. There was hardly any black people there. It was all either white people or Latinos, and that's it. Yeah. So I didn't grow up. Kind of probably where you were at was more of a melting pot, right? Because you were in
where I grew up. We had the highest in Santa Clara County. We had the highest percentage of African American population.
Yeah.
So we had everything. We had Asians, Filipinos, Mexicans, everything, man. So I never grew up with any type of racial overtones.
Yeah, I didn't grow up like that. But what's crazy is that once I got to prison, because I even hated Southsiders before prison. You know what I mean? And then that's when the Lord changed my life and changed everything, the way I just see life, the way I saw people. But I'll say this is that being incarcerated for those 6 years, it really let me see the humanity in everybody. I met Jewish people, white people, black people, just everyone, and I'm just like, I realize how similar we are more than how different we are. You know, and because I didn't get that in the Bay Area, that melting pot, you know what I mean? But I got it incarcerated, which is weird. You would think that if anything, that would have segregated me more, but actually it desegregated me because I was able to get along with so many different people, you know? And I think that has shaped who I am today, you know?
Yeah. Me too, man. But I see it's starting to change, like the respect levels back in our time era. You know what I mean? When we were younger and in the older generation, you know, you always
Yeah.
had those. You're starting to see again more separation, even up north. Believe it or not, not
Yeah.
like how it is down south, man. It's just people are more independent now.
Yeah.
You know, it's more about chasing that bag, getting that money. Whereas opposed, I think in our time era, we may have had a different agenda. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's more about kind of like kicking it with the homies, doing what you do. Yeah, people wanted to get money, but you wanted to build relationships. Relationships today are kind of shallow now.
Yeah.
Everything's competitive. You know what I mean? Like I watch all these different YouTube channels, and it's like, man, everybody's competitive. You know what I'm saying? And I think separation breeds racism, I believe.
Yeah.
Because when you separate yourself and only want to kick it with your race, whether you're Hispanic or black, you're becoming more pro your race, which is okay to be about your race, but you're starting to separate yourself from other people as well. It's the same thing with North and South. You start to align yourself as a Norteño, you distance yourself, you separate yourself from the Sureños. You don't even know who these people are, but you naturally start to hate them. And that starts to kind of grow. You know what I'm saying? And you're seeing more and more of that in like different areas, man. And I think that we've all witnessed what could occur when people start to work together, man. Things can be accomplished, man. And I'm not just talking about black and brown, but I'm talking about white, Asian, everybody. You know, having relationships with people, humanity. You know what I mean? Not judging people based upon certain circumstances, you know, giving everybody the opportunity to get to know them without having that judgmental. Because a lot of people are judgmental when they meet people. You know what I'm saying?
I think that no matter what, we need to judge each other according to who that person is. You know, nobody likes to be stereotyped. Nobody does. Nobody likes to for somebody to I walk in a store and all of a sudden the manager's following me. Or I don't like to, you know, we don't like to be stereotyped, but yet we're the first ones to stereotype others.
Yeah, true.
And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where it inherently comes from. It doesn't make any sense, you know, but we don't like to be stereotyped, but yet we do it automatically. You know, oh, that's a northerner, or that's a south sider, or that's this, or that's that, or that's a do, or that's, you know what I mean? It's like all these labels, you know. It's like people have these labels and they just want to stick labels on you.
See, that's what I tell people. I say I don't I don't want to label myself. You can call me whatever you want on a personal level, but that doesn't define who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way someone that's claiming an Norteño, like he could be a 5'2" guy that's going to run in the shadows when he kicks off, but he's still repping that Norte, but that's not what he's really about. You know? So people, like you said, people put titles on people and it categorizes people. You know what I mean? They put them in the category that this is who you are. You know what I'm saying? And like me, I tell people, you know what? You're a dropout. You're this, that. No, I'm Flacco. That's who I am. I'm William. Yeah. That's who I am. I'm a man. That past life is my past life. So therefore, if I'm going to disassociate myself from it totally, I'm going to get rid of that title because I no longer care about it. You know? Yeah. And I agree with you 100%, man, because I see that all the time. And it's changed, man. Things that, you know, the things that we went through have evolved. Like I brought this up before. When we were younger, it was, where you from? De donde eres? You know what I mean? Get fast. Okay, went from that to, you a homie? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, because you were, back in the days, you just hit up anybody. It didn't matter what side, Norteño or Sureño. Then it went to, are you a homie? Then it went to, are you active? You know what I'm saying? So you see how the cycle changes. It just continues to just blow up, man. And so it's those titles. People hide behind those titles, man. And, you know, being at our age and having a little bit more experience and being more mature today, I can see things through a whole different lens, man. And I think that, you know, you can't touch every kid out there. You know what I'm saying? I just hope that there's those that can sit there and look at things and not have that tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? Because too often people want to look at things just from one perspective because that's what's been drilled in them over and over again. But looking at the whole picture, because even as an active person who was extremely active in the mix, I would sometimes have those secret feelings, like when I was talking to some Sureños or some MA members, like, man, you know what? This dude's pretty cool. I'm saying this on an individual level. We start to humanize them a little bit. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to all this, is to humanize the situation. Because too often people want to have a presentation of this is who they are, but they don't humanize it. When you humanize it, people are going to respect you more because now they see you for who you are.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, because in Tracy, again, you know what I mean? We were raised to hate Sureños, but there was no Sureños around to hate. You know, and that was weird. That was just instilled. That was just kind of just like put in our heads. But like you said, when I got sent to Terminal Island, it's right there in the middle of Long Beach, man. And there was 200 plus active Southsiders. And what's crazy is that many of them were the most respectful men I'd ever met.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, it made me double. I believe that God sent me there to see that, you know, because imagine if I had if they had sent me to a prison up north and there would have been a bunch of Northerners. Well, what if, who am I to say I would have still had those stereotypes in my head, even as a Christian? I'm glad I went down there. I'm glad, because then I was able to see that I had to base everybody individually on who they were as a man, you know. And that really, like I said, it changed my perspective, man. I've met so many people that were so respectful, and therefore I would give respect back, you know. And but I think you hit it perfect, that we need to humanize everybody.
Exactly.
There's good and bad in there's Northerners that are respectful. There's some that are scandalous. There's Southsiders, same thing, whites, black, all the way around. You know what I mean? People are going to be people. You're going to have people that are wicked, and you're going to have people that are righteous. You know,
I'm going to tell a story that happened recently. So I went to drop off my son out there in California, right? And I decided to kind of detour on the way back. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up in Fresno. You know what I'm saying? First day there, a bulldog that I don't know through the YouTube stuff came and took me out, man. Took me everywhere, showed me love, showed me respect, man. I got to know him on an individual level. I never, ever dealt with a bulldog in my life, ever. And here I am having a good time with this dude, and we're talking about life and real stuff. The next day, I go to the upstate Sureño Weddle from Saho. You know what I'm saying? Go over to his house, you know, see where he lives. Beautiful house, beautiful family. We kick it. We have a couple pistos, and we go live. And he pushed a beautiful message that day. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, man, I never thought I'd be doing this. You know, here I am having human interactions with them as humans. I'm not looking at them no more as a bulldog or as a Sureño. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at him as this person, as that person. And it made me kind of open things up a little bit, like that. Like you said, there's good and bad in everybody.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good individuals that have the same type of moral compass, same type of respect and upbringing. And then there's some of those that align to the things I used to align with. They have none of it.
Yeah,
they're the ones I wouldn't even want to take home or leave my kids around.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But these people, you know, I felt comfortable. I've seen their grandkids. I've seen their kids. And it's like, man, it's a great feeling to see that, because I never thought I would ever experience that, ever.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to. I thought I was going to catch a life sentence at one time, man. You know, and just to see that, man. And I know I look back at it now, and this is the truth. I never said this before. I see the layers were starting to slowly be torn down years before. You know, as far back as when I was in the shoe. Just having those little interactions, man, they kind of started to make me look at things in a whole different light.
You know, I'm going to share a story that I've never shared this on anybody's channel or mine.
Okay, it's gonna be good.
In my full, you know, just being a Northerner in the midst of my career. I remember I did a song with Capone from Texas, and a bunch of people got mad because they thought it was Capone E from Southern California.
Yeah,
and I caught some flack because of that, actually, back then. But it was Capone out of San Antonio. But anyways, people would have really got mad if they had known that I was a MC Boulevard fan, because MC Boulevard That song he had, I Remember You,
Remember
Homie.
You, Homie? Hey, that was my video. That was our song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We used to listen to it all the time.
So I don't know how this happened, but somehow I got in contact with him. Me being fully just selling dope, gang banging, the music was out there. And somehow I talked to him on the phone, and I went to LA because I had to go for some reason. And he goes, hey, I'm shooting a music video. He goes, why don't you come check it out? Not be in it, you know what I mean? But just come check it out. I went down there as a full-on northerner, you know what I mean? And I was there in the video, and then after I went to his house, man. I went to his house, and we were sitting outside his house. I didn't go in, and he laughed. He goes, what would people think if they saw us together right now? You know, because I was such a fan of his music, I didn't trip like that. And then he was, like you said, it's the humanity comes out, you know.
Yes.
And we chopped it up for like an hour, joking, laughing, talking about the music. And then at the end, I said, you know, Boulevard, I got so much respect for you, man. I said, but we can never do a song together, you know. And he goes, I know. He goes, Homeboy's here with Trip too. He goes, but you know what? You're all right, man. You know, and I shook his hand, you know, and came back up north and never said nothing, you know what I mean? Because I would have caught flack because of it. And it's crazy because even to this day now, Boulevard is a personal friend of mine, you know. He's serving God too, you know, as you know. And but yeah, that's great. And we've talked about that conversation, you know, back then, and nobody knows about that, so that's exclusive.
Exclusive, man. Breaking exclusive, man.
Yeah.
So Dyno was all gang banged out in a Sureño video.
Yeah, but back to the subject, man. Yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing this up. You know, obviously I'm a pastor. Obviously, you know, I believe in God. Obviously, so I'm always gonna stand for unity. I'm always gonna stand for us seeing each other as people and not as a group.
Yes.
And I'm always gonna stand for that. So, you know, I'm glad that you're making a video and just kind of talking about it, you know, and maybe set a precedence, you know.
So like I was discussing with you before, and it's like I'm seeing what other people are doing, and I'm not gonna say that they're making mistakes, but I think it'd be foolish for me to sit there and try to involve myself in street politics down south. That's not my business. But it doesn't mean I can't shed light to what has occurred up north and the different interactions that we've had up north. You know what I mean? And maybe people can look at that, and maybe they can look at it as a different solution. Because I think in general, war, guerra, funk, conflict, it doesn't have to be even violence. Just having you know, people talking bad about you, getting pissed off on the social media and so forth. I mean, you see it all over the place.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think anybody wants to experience that, man. But it's existing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and you know, I don't fully understand, because I know a few years ago, blacks and browns are going at it in Southern California. I can't sit here and say I understand it, because I don't, you know what I mean? But I would never condone it. My understanding, though, the little bit I know is people are going after even just regular civilians, you know.
Yeah.
On the black and brown side, you got, you know, abuelita,
yes.
or you got, you know, grandmas, or, you know, and it's just that's never good.
And see, this is something that people may not agree with me on, but I gotta say it. We gotta hold accountable those that are Hispanic descent who also engage in racist type behavior, because it's not just a one-way street.
Yeah, it's both ways.
It's both ways, and there's a lot of. I think the majority of the masses they don't want none of that shit. Now, most people, I talk to all kinds of people, Crips, Don Moose from down south, and cats from the Bay Area. Man, nobody wants drama. They want to, you know, they want to keep on doing their thing. They want to work. They want to live life, and they don't want to see the drama. You know what I'm saying? And see, there has to be like I'm looking at things kind of from an outsider, a little bit of it. But I know one thing I've heard from a couple people is when there were certain things that were addressed, a lot of people felt like the N-word needs to be stopped being used by the raza out there in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because see, that's what happens is when you start, like I said, I was talking to you before, are we becoming our own cancel culture? So if we start to nitpick on this and that, it's going to become tick for tack. Well, you guys do this, you do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
people need to pick their battles and what's going to be necessary and what's not going to be necessary, because I heard that from a lot of people. And there's a lot of rappers that they're doing interviews and they're freely using that word. And I know a lot of older, black men who really feel a certain way about hearing that word be used.
Oh,
so
yeah.
see, it has to work both ways is what I'm getting at. If people
Yeah.
are going to get upset and push the issue this way, see, I'm all about what's right is right, wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I've used that word before. You know what I mean? When I'm rapping and stuff like that. You know what I mean? When I've done music, I've used it in my past. Not that I use it when I'm talking to people, but it used to go good with rap songs. You know what I'm saying? And I've refrained from doing that because, it's just a stage. And these are the things that people need to discuss, because otherwise people start to harbor those issues. They harbor that animosity and it builds up, and then it comes out in different ways, in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, I never did use that word in music. But a lot of the rappers from Darkroom did, because a lot of them from the Bay, and in the Bay, it's just, the Bay, that Bay swag, you know what I mean? It was regardless of what color you were. A lot of the Bay Area cats were talking the same, you know what I mean? But
see, this is coming from a lot of the older Bay Area cats. You know what I mean? Some of them feel a certain way, and like even some of the old school that were part of certain groups feel a certain way, man. So it's one of those things that people have to realize, man, that people can be sensitive to things. Some of it justly so, some of it maybe they push the envelope. But those are the type of discussions that need to be held, though. You know what I'm saying? Forget the tick for tag and let's play tag. Let's get to the core of the problems. Okay, where can we solve it? Because I know down south they have a lot more issues, but there's been issues up north as well. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, it's been on, there's been better relationships, better rapport ever since the 17 Reason. Ever since the 17 Reason album dropped, back in the 90s. Because I'm gonna keep it real. In the early 90s, we used to get off of Blacks a lot. You know what I'm saying? Where I was from, all the time. After that happened, and people went to YA and people got out of prison, that's when that black and brown movement started to get pushed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just think these are things that people need to sit there. Someone needs to sit there and take a step back and look at it from a whole different lens if they want to get any type of solution. And it has to be basically on both sides. But then again, nobody has to do anything. But if they don't want to do something, then don't become a problem.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing I look at it.
One thing, like sometimes I like just the news, for instance, I don't understand the agenda, because there's always an agenda, because ultimately you have a news channel to bring viewers. You know what I mean? So my heart gets broken like when I saw like a taco stand, somebody tearing it up, and it happens to be a black person, for instance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh man, why do they have to do that? But at the same time, what they don't show is probably, 30 African-American people being a regular customer to that place.
Labels, like you said, labels.
Yeah. And then
put a label to it.
And then what happens is then you have some young homeboys, they get upset about it. So they're just like, oh man, they can't be tearing up our taco trucks. So they're here they are trying to retaliate for this. But then at the same time, they don't have a problem. Let's say the vendor, let's say they live in another neighborhood or whatever, they don't have a problem killing their kid because they're from another barrio.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's just a big mess, man. That's why
it is, man. Some of the things, it's like an oxymoron situation, and people don't really see it for what it is, man.
Yeah.
I'm still a firm believer you have to take care of your own community first and foremost.
Yeah.
Whether it's black, brown, Hispanic, whatever it may be, before you start to bridge gaps with other communities. You know what I'm saying? But I think you can pretty much set a precedent, like you said, for others to follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, I think, man, we've been on for 35 minutes already, man.
Yeah.
You know yeah.
So, I mean, I know JT didn't stay on, but you asked me a question, and then that's when he went off, how it felt for me to hear him say that.
Yes.
And so I will say this so he can watch this later after the fact, is I'm honored, even though I don't live that life anymore, but nevertheless, I'm honored that somebody like JT would give props, because I worked hard. We worked hard at what we did, whether it was our music or our movies. Even if people say they're cheesy, I can say, but you know what? I got 8 cheesy movies. How many do you got? But nevertheless, just hearing that from JT, I hope that shows that it wasn't just one way. It wasn't like, oh, all these Chicano kids are buying black artists, but black artists ain't giving us props. We just heard it. We heard JT himself say, you know, that he looked up to us and what we were doing. And I think that is a perfect example to end this video, is
Yes.
that this was an African-American man, JT. He was huge in the Bay Area. That Game Recognized Game. I remember the album was huge. And for him to be looking at what we were doing is the highest form of props, I think. And I didn't even know he knew who I was. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
Who's on it like that?
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna end this, man, and I think we're gonna tap over on your channel right now.
Yeah. I'm finally separating my channel because I always want to do more interviews, more lives, more stuff, but I never wanted to bog down the channel because I was using it for the church, for sermons, devotionals, and Bible studies. So that's why I kind of wouldn't go on so many lives or wouldn't do so many interviews. But my wife gave me a great advice. She says, you know what, you need to split this up, David. She goes, there's so much about you, whether it's the movies or books or painting or even you going on cycling or interviews, people you want to talk to. She goes, you should separate it. So I have the House of Rest YouTube channel. We just reached 10,000 subscribers, so that's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
You know, but I'm about to kick off the David Rocha YouTube channel, where it's going to be more personable, more interviews, more lives, more things about the things that I do. And that way we separate. And so here's another thing I noticed is when it's you or Cholo Trucker or Paul, or even when I had Gunner, my views skyrocket. And then the next one will be a sermon and it'll be like 300 views. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know what? Obviously, a lot of people won't step into a church. And obviously, a lot of people won't listen to a sermon. But maybe in conversation, in lives, in interviews like this, then maybe I'll be able to reach more people. So, yeah, so the channel, I'm going to do an interview with you or just kind of talk with you, is going to be on the new channel that I'm about to kick off.
Awesome.
Which is just man. David Rocha YouTube channel.
I like to be the kind of breaks those barriers with you, man.
Yeah.
Going into a new era, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome. I think that's a smart move because I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to bring people who maybe won't go to your House of Rest channel right away, but they're going to be able to hear something that connects somehow with you.
Yeah.
And that may lead them there.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, let me end this, guys, man. I appreciate you, man. And stay tuned. Check out the David Rocha channel.
All right.